one time in 2012, I did go play hockey with my buddies. They invited me to like a tournament. We drove to Arizona, and I played in one game, first shift. I got checked into the boards with my like arm up, and I thought for sure my shoulder was broken.
Oh,
and I had to pull out of this entire tournament. So yeah, I mean,
look, every time you talk about you playing sports, I just remember your story about being in that one league where you were the oldest, and so you're just beating up on a bunch of little kids.
Fighting games let you express jerkery, and so do sports, and that's what I love about them. Yes, exactly. You know what? I was thinking about over this past weekend when somebody asked me if we're friends in real life. I still get that question all the time. And I was thinking back to the first time that I met you. I guess whatever, not really. I heard of you online. I interacted with you online. In my memory, you got a way better memory than me. In my memory, that was when we were working on a super turbo matchup chart on SRK.
Wait, that was before all the HDR stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know, maybe not, but that's my memory of it, where I was, first of all, very flattered to have been asked to, like, what I think about Honda's matchups in that game. I was, like, very proud of myself. But yeah, I remember you talking about Cammy matchups and me talking about Honda matchups, and that's like, okay, fine, maybe not the best matchup for Cammy, but I'm pretty sure I was arguing that it like wasn't so bad. So the first, I was thinking like, yeah, I mean, I'm like friends with James, but actually, first time I interacted with him, I kind of thought he was like uppity and felt like he like knew everything.
Wait, me?
Yeah, you.
Really?
Yeah, the way that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because
that was my initial take.
I am right about Cammy Honda, right? I mean, look, was that the chart that I listed that fight was 10-0 in Honda's favor? Because I still remember, because I remember we were playing at Super Arcade, and you're like, see, it's not that bad, and I was like, you're playing it wrong. And then you're like, what am I supposed to do? And I told you, and then I couldn't beat you anymore, and you're like, okay, yeah.
I do remember that, actually. Okay, that's a good point.
So I was right, see?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But no, yeah, I thought that was cool. Just thinking back to days of before commentating. I don't know, we've been doing it for so long now, but yeah, that's when people ask me about stuff like that, it still seems weird to me that I have been like a commentator and like in front of the camera.
Right.
It's not really what I think about when I think about like, I don't know, stuff I've done in the scene or like relationship with you or anything like that.
I mean, because my first memory, honestly, was when you know, obviously, Serlin was working on HDR, right? And the Shoryuken.com forums just had like, everybody was just like, here, do this, do this, do this. And I remember because we were arguing about like what to do with Honda and all that stuff like that. But I distinctly remember, because this is the internet, that I was like, you know, he brings up good points, he argues well, you know, like this is, and I remember like it wasn't one of those typical, you know, internet arguments, and I was like, okay, I respect this guy.
Yeah?
I respect this guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's legit.
And then eventually, you know, we met up at like the Shiggle BMX garage, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe we had met in person anyway, like not like hung out necessarily, but like I think I'd met you probably like Denjin Arcade or something by that point. But yeah, I think the first time that I remember like really spending time with you was at Shiggle BMX's not arcade, garage.
The garage, right, yeah.
In 2009, 10? 9.
It had to have been 9 because it was Street Fighter 4 period.
It was 9.
Yeah, we met during Street Fighter 4.
Yeah,
so.
and we had to drive like 2 hours to get there every week. Remember that? Like that was, we were in West LA.
Did we carpool to Chicago?
Yeah, we carpooled a lot.
God.
I'm the one with the bad memory. Okay. Usually I'm the one asking you what happened.
I just meant like right away. I know we did eventually.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yeah, that was like an hour and a half there in traffic, and then
only on the way there. On the way back, it was like
30 minutes on the way back, dude. No traffic. Yeah, but I mean that was when we first hung out. And that was like a lot of our context of hanging out was like driving in cars. I feel like, I mean, I've been hanging out with you for the last, most of 20 years at this point, 18 years or whatever. But I feel like most of the hours we've spent hanging out are like in cars or just moving somewhere, going somewhere like on a plane next to each other, or like something like that. It's been like us going somewhere.
Driving to Fresno is always going to be like one of the ones that I remember the most because that was also the scary foggy trip.
Yeah, we got caught in Thule fog.
Yeah,
that's true. I forgot about that.
No, but I remember because you were talking about like people ask you, do you really hang out? I mean, do you remember when we were doing one of the Tuesday shows? We had Mike Ross on there.
Yeah.
And so after we were done, we all went out and we went to go grab boba on Sawtell.
Yeah.
And someone actually recognized us and they were like, wait, you guys actually hang out outside of, outside of the FGC,
Yeah, like it's like a host of TV characters or whatever. Right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was in probably 2012 or something, right? Almost forever ago by itself. But yeah, no, I get it from an outside perspective. It is kind of TV characters, right? I try to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear feedback on commentary for me or for anybody else, or whatever, how a tournament went, how players are playing, you gotta take it with a little bit of a grain of salt because we're TV characters for a lot of people.
Honestly, I used to like when haters were on chat or something, and we used to have the rule of like, don't ever look at chat while streaming, while we're on commentary. I don't mind it as much anymore because I've kind of reasoned it out. Like I get what's going on over there, and I think it was just one time. I always remember this because this was like the thing that really flipped the switch in my head was people would say mean things about us and whatever like this. And I remember watching one year, I was watching a Laker game, and it's when Mike Brown was our coach, and I really didn't like him as a coach. And like there was one game where I felt like he just messed that whole game up, and I was just like, oh, Mike Brown, I hate him. Wish he would die in a fire. Like all these things, and I just stopped. I was like, oh my God, I'm Twitch chat.
You're the chat, yeah.
And I was like, that's so crazy because then I was able to understand like the way that I picture Mike Brown. Yeah. Is the way that people are picturing me. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Like you're not like a real person.
Yeah.
You're just like, in his case, NBA coach guy. And what happens after he gets off camera? Like you don't know. Like you have no idea.
There was one time there was like an article on SRK, that was like someone did an interview with me and they're like talking to me about that and stuff. And like a bunch of people in the comments were like, God, I hate James Chen. If he wants to help commentary, he should quit and all this stuff. And I jumped in there. I was like, hey guys, like if you really do hate the commentary, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, like the biggest haters in there were like, no.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, like actually no, as long as you keep trying, like we don't mean that.
Oh, it's
like,
cool, sorry.
Because it changes. Like as soon as you start interacting with them, it changes the whole thing.
Like I'm not mad about it. I wouldn't say like, I don't want to make fun of them really for doing that because like we're what you're saying, right? Is like you've been that person. I've been that person too.
Yes. I'm not saying I'm making fun of them. No, I'm just saying just like an example of just like
totally,
how it changes.
I have also I haven't been the person who then gets to talk with the Anaheim Ducks head coach or whatever. Like that hasn't happened.
Right. Yeah.
But having the perspective of being the person commentating or playing or like whatever it is that's on stream. Yeah, I mean, I see it, I don't know, I guess I see it relatively rarely on commentary, but when I've been playing a lot again and I've been on stream a few times, playing, right? And I'll look it up later because I want to watch how I did and see what I can do better and stuff. And a lot of it is like, first of all, I didn't know that guy could play fighting games, right? Like I didn't even know. And then the secondary part is like, okay, awesome, congrats, David, But then there are also people who are like, oh, he could have done this or that way better, right? Oh,
of course.
Could have done that. Yeah, I mean, I try to keep that in mind that that's just, TV characters on the YouTubes and the Twitch.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to get too riled up about. I mean, it's stuff to learn from, and I mean, I didn't learn what to do better with Honda, and because of those comments. But thinking about that kind of comment over the years is like one way that I've figured out how to deal with commentary in general. Like it's like, even though, I mean, it's not, again, I'm not making fun of the people who do that, I don't want to take all of the criticism, including stuff that's in bad faith.
Call them names. Those
idiots better shut up about it. No, I mean, it's useful to try to incorporate feedback, even if it's done in jerky ways.
One of my favorite things that you've said about commentary is like when you're commentating with someone else, it's like a fighting game matchup.
It's a matchup, yeah,
Right?
matchup theory. Yeah.
And I mean, I remember because when I first started doing commentary, I was really known as that guy who knew all the frame data stuff and all that. And once we started commentating a lot together, you were covering that area more. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to move a little bit more towards the, crazy hype, go nuts kind of
stories
thing.
and people.
Stories, yeah. So I tried to go in that direction, but it's weird because I feel like a lot of people are still expecting, that, and I can do it if I need to, but the weird thing about it is like commentary, when we first started commentary, it literally was just like everyone who was like, I can be a commentator because I can get hype about things. And that's what kind of like, that's how people viewed it. But like, it's really shifted a lot these days where now I feel like before we just had nothing but like 80% hype commentators and you couldn't find the guys who did the analysis very well. Nowadays, I feel like we have like 80% analysis commentators. We don't have as many hype commentators anymore.
Interesting. Okay.
It's really strange,
I guess I'm not sure that I agree. I feel like commentators, it's such a different field. There's like so much competition in it.
Well, I mean, I don't mean like going to Evos and CEOs and commentators, but like you listen to a lot of the weeklies and stuff
like that.
That.
That is true.
That's
what a lot of people talk about.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because I mean, I'm not gonna name any names, but like there was one time I remember watching one weekly, and the grand finals was done, and like the guy won, and the commentators were like, "Cool, yeah, okay, he won. That'll do it." And I was just like, "What is happening? What is happening?"
The most important moment of any stream is the winning moment. Yeah. That's the one you most gotta nail.
I remember one of my favorite commentary moments that we've had. We were commentating Evo Top 8. And that was the year that IDOM was just basically rolling through everybody. Obviously, we were rooting for IDOM because no U.S. player had ever won since, the start of Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
And when he lost to Kawano, it would have been really easy for both of us to be like, no, IDOM, he fell short, oh my God. But I could feel it. Both of us intentionally flipped it. We're like, Kawano's taking it, he won. Because he's going to be watching that thing like a bunch of times. He's going to put it on, and it's just going to be one of those moments that he's going to remember. And if he goes and watches the commentary and we're like, no, poor Ida. Like, I just think that sucks for him.
It does suck. But it's not just for Kawano. He has a lot of fans.
Exactly.
But even more than that, there are a lot of people who are watching who like don't really have a dog in the fight, right? They're there to have a good time. Commentary is about keeping people engaged.
Yes.
Right? That's like the ultimate route. There's so much stuff to watch and care about, and fighting games is one of them, but it's just one of them.
Right? Exactly.
We love it. A lot of people love it, but yeah, our job is to keep people engaged. So it would be, even for people who are IDOM fans, right? If we were to have phrased that as like, in the negative of, IDOM lost, it's what a tragedy, right? They are also disengaged as a result, right? They're not engaged either. And we're also not engaging all the Kawano people. And we're totally dropping the ball on all the people who are there and like don't really care who wins. So it's just like wrong all over the place. Like there's like you don't necessarily have to be thrilled for Kawano, right? Like on commentary even. You have to like call the winning moment well, but like you don't have to be like, oh, it's my favorite moment that like Kawano, like you don't have to phrase it that way.
Right, of course, yeah.
But yeah, your job ultimately is to find a way to keep people engaged and listening, and like that shouldn't be fake. But like it also, you should not be dumping on people's excitement,
Dude,
right? Like don't trash the excitement preemptively and get people out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is your job literally to like keep people excited and have a good time, right?
What do you like about it? What do you like about commentating? Like what sort of, I don't know, what's your attraction? So,
I mean, my main philosophy for commentating, honestly, is because I've been playing fighting games for, like I said, I made a tweet a while ago that I said, like, if you take Blas, Crimea, and not Pedro, and add their ages together, that I was still older. I've been playing fighting games for a long time. This is just basically
the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time, and this is basically my life, right? Like this is my passion. This is what I like to do. ever since the beginning, the thing that I've hated the most is that I feel like everybody should love this.
Okay.
You know, and, you know, obviously the logical side of me is like, dude, there's like maybe like 5 billion hobbies to have on the planet. Like, not everybody's gonna love it, but like my brain has always been like, more people should love this than there are. And so that has motivated me ever since the beginning to try to give people the idea of what makes it so fun. So that's why I write the FAQs, because I wanted to make people better players.
Yeah.
So I wrote all the articles on SRK because I wanted to explain this, and why I made combo videos because I wanted to just show off some fun stuff to make people attracted. And then eventually just led towards the commentary. And you know, I consider my superpower like my empathy, right? And that's just why I do it, because like I feel like one of my biggest advices that I give to people to do commentary is just like, make sure you like the game you're commentating. Because I'll tell you, dude, there was that one time someone made a like a highlight reel of like all the hype Street Fighter Cross Tekken moments, right?
Okay.
And you know how I feel about that game, right?
Sure do.
Yeah. And because you know at that time there weren't a lot of commentators, it was just us commentating most of it, and so you're listening to all these sections. And like you're getting hype about stuff, and I am just giving like the most backhand. I'm like giving the most backhanded compliments. I'm like, oh whoa, that's actually cool, you know, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there listening to this, and I was just like, this is awful. And I was like, I never want to do this again. This is bad, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, commentating. Make sure you are enjoying the thing that you're commentating.
For sure.
Because when you do that, it doesn't matter your style. You can be analytical, you can be hype, you can be a jokester, you can be whatever. If you are enjoying the thing that you love, everybody listening can tell. Like there's just something.
They definitely know when you're not into it.
Yeah,
I'll say that much,
exactly. So like there's just something about that genuineness that comes
Yeah.
across. And for me, because you know, I've been playing fighting games for so long, and I think they're the greatest thing ever, right? You know, obviously, you know, depending on everybody in their area of hobby is gonna think that's the greatest thing ever. But, you know, I feel like I want to use that role as a commentator to try to
You're the evangelist, is your...
Yeah,
there
it's
you
a good
go.
way to put it. It's a good way to put it, actually.
Fighting game evangelist, James Chen. That's cool. I mean, look, I remember coming to the same conclusion about not commentating games that I didn't like, because you know there was that window when I hated Marvel 3. Right. Right. Like I loved Marvel 3 on launch.
Right.
And then like I don't know, a year into it maybe I was like, actually this game is trash. And I still was commentating it, right?
Because we
I was
were
still being asked to.
Yeah,
People were asking me to do it. Okay, I guess. And yeah, I can definitely remember just ripping on it. I mean, you know, not this game's trash, like not like that obviously, but like you were saying, like, oh, I pop level their X Factor, what a genius move, you know, that kind of like I was clearly not into it, and I didn't like more than like me ripping on it. Me not being into it meant that I just didn't know that much about it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right, like I didn't know all the little details that you would know if you've put 1,000 hours into a game or something. Some of the people had already at that point. I didn't know the little interactions and whatever. Don't do that. Like was the conclusion. So I haven't, and like nowadays I'm only commentating games that I really for real play. MK1 and Street Fighter 6. I love them. I'm super happy with them. And I would not want to commentate other games. Also, I don't want to like take time for commentators that are into those games. I don't want to like take potential gigs from them.
That's my Dragon Ball FighterZ story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you and I did Dragon Ball FighterZ commentary at the start. We did Dragon Ball FighterZ
for the Sencal standoff, right? I think it was.
We did DBFZ at, I think it was Game Over in the Dominican Republic.
Did we?
Yeah, I think we did.
I know we also did one. I know we did one for Sencal standoff as well.
Yeah. But yeah, we did, and. You know, I didn't like actively hate it, but I didn't know it.
I mean, I think it's funny because obviously fighting games are my passion, right? And like people used to always say to me, it was like, well, you know, if you need money, like why haven't you tried to commentate League of Legends, you know, and all these other things? And I was like, I'm only going to commentate fighting games because that's my passion. That is what. So I will not commentate any other genre of games. And then one person one day hit me up, was like, hey, Tetris is looking for commentators. I was like, Tetris?
Okay, but you're like as much of an evangelist for Tetris as for fighting games, for sure.
Tetris is, I mean, like people are gonna say like, oh, James, your favorite video game must be Vampire Savior.
Yeah,
No, my favorite video game of all time is Tetris.
For sure.
And I still remember too, because like when they announced me, because they were doing a call like, hey, anybody want to try to be a commentator? And so I did this exhibition match, and they announced like James Chen will be the guest commentator here. And I remember a Facebook post being like, what the hell is this? This is just a stunt thing, like
big esports.
Yeah,
James Chen
exactly,
from the top. Big fighting game commentator.
And then we did the whole thing, right? We did the episode, and afterwards I went back to that Facebook post, and I was like, hey, how was it? Like, I hope I was good, you know? And the guy was like, yeah, you knew what you were talking about. It's fine. I was like, yes.
That's sick, actually. Yeah, the conversion.
Happy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The biggest reasons that I've been into commentary, I mean, I got into it so haphazardly, like we both did, right? There was no, yeah, that's right. I just happened to be, I showed up to Active Gamer's Triple Threat with the old joystick and buttons container. Was the name of my joystick. I used to make sticks, and this one was like intentionally the grossest, biggest thing that I could come up with nails like stuck in there, and like I used the little rotary saw and like sawed off parts of it weirdly. It was gross. It was awesome.
Definitely could have been a weapon that you picked up from the trash can in Final Fight. You know,
it was beautiful. I loved it. It was so beautiful. I still have it. It's one of the few sticks I've made that I still keep it on. But it was chunky enough that I could sit on it. You know, I was like using it to sit on. And I think DJ Wheat and Shadosha were commentating that.
Oh dang!
It's my memory of it. And they were like, whoa, check out this dude with the whatever he's sitting on. Like, they invited me over and had me commentate, and liked it enough that they had me back for top 8, and like that was the first time. But anyway, I got into it so haphazardly. It's not like I like intended to, right? Like today, you gotta intend to get into commentary.
Oh yeah.
Like you gotta be really intentional about it. It's not the way for us at all at the start. But I'm really happy I did, because it let me express things that I really care about, which are basically, I've realized, like strategy and competition is why I was doing it. You know, that was like around the same time that I realized that I couldn't really compete anymore. I had all these physical issues, you know, nerves and joint pain and stuff, and I just couldn't control my hands anymore. So that avenue of competition, basically, but I mean, not just that, like I used to play sports a lot for the same physical reasons, like, one time in 2012, I did go play hockey with my buddies. They invited me to like a tournament. We drove to Arizona, and I played in one game. First shift, I got checked into the boards with my like arm up, and I thought for sure my shoulder was broken.
Oh,
and I had to pull out of this entire tournament. So yeah, I mean,
look, every time you talk about you playing sports, I just remember your story about being in that one league where you were the oldest, and so you're just beating up on a bunch of little kids.
Fighting games let you express jerkery, and so do sports, and that's what I love about them. Yes, exactly. Yeah. We had too few people to play hockey in our league, so yeah, I was the 8th grader who got rolled into the 4th graders league.
Oh my God.
I did most of my growing by age 13, so I was probably like 5'8", and like 150 pounds, and just like literally skating over.
Dude, it was like the comedy movie, you know, where you just see the big person checking.
One time, I took the face off on center. It was on the left side, and I like immediately shot it in, and also knocked down the kid in front of me. The same stick movement was me knocking this kid down and scoring. It was super easy. But yeah, I love the strategy and the competition. And in lieu of sports or competing in fighting games, it was, I can compete in commentating now.
Oh,
that's what I realized in recent times.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like a lot of the energy that I poured into it was me trying to figure out like how to commentate better. And like it was, you know, I'm not like trying to beat other commentators,
right.
like, but it's like self competition, right?
And I was like learning a musical instrument. You want to get better at it. You want to be able to perform better, right?
But it was that competition that I loved, or that like closest that I could get to expressing competition in the way that I was doing it. And the strategy of like figuring out, as you said, like all the matchups. Love that. That's what I cared about.
It's just how your mind works, right? You just always want to get better and like figure out. Because obviously most people know that you're a lawyer, right? And you told me before that like you like reading contracts because you like finding the loophole or like things like this, and like try to like you almost
it's a puzzle.
You almost game it in a way, right? Yeah. Like so when obviously when we were working with each other all the time, like every time I got a contract, I would just be like,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I can't even get through like the first 2 paragraphs without falling asleep.
I like it. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's just little ways to. The best thing is thinking. Like that's the best thing in life. You get is thinking.
Okay, nerd.
Yeah, no, but really.
No,
like,
I mean, well, honestly though, like it's really interesting because like you listen to this and we have very different like reasons why we're doing this. But honestly, that is exactly why I think we work together so well. I have said this since the beginning. The cool part is that, the beginning and the end point for us were the same. Like we want to get more people playing. We wanted to, explain what's going on and stuff. And we had very similar views of how we would like to see the FGC grow and everything. So we always had the same endpoint, but the best part is that we had like completely different paths to get there. But I think that's what made it so good because, a lot of people who really didn't like my commentary really liked your commentary. A lot of people didn't like your commentary, like my commentary. But because we were friends and we understood each other and everything, and we just got really used to each other, like we weren't clashing. We found a way to make it kind of fit together. And as a result, like we presented 2 very different viewpoints that could attract a wider audience. You know what I mean? And so like, I just felt like we covered a lot of space out there. And honestly, it's one of my favorite things about fighting games, fighting game community, commentary, period. Like overall, a lot of times these days when people are like, God, James, I hate your commentary and everything. One of the number one things I respond to them like, that's fine. Yeah. But because of the way the FGC is, I guarantee you, you will love somebody else's commentary.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Because we cover the whole gamut. And that's like my favorite thing.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, in talking with newer commentators, it's like obviously very common that they'll adopt some stuff from commentators that they like. Like it's natural. I did that too when I started.
I tried to be like Yipes when I started.
Yeah?
That did not work.
I don't remember that.
Because I was trying to make catchphrases. That's what I was trying to do. I was like commenting. Yeah. I was trying to make catchphrases. Like I tried to make, oh, it's so S tier. Like I tried to make that thing like,
I've never that.
Like House of Cicada. Like I remember, you remember House of Cicada, right?
Yeah, I do.
I remember trying to like say, oh, it's so S tier. I was like trying to do that. And it was awful. It was
literally trying to make fetch.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, people could tell like when you're not good at that, you can't put 100% of yourself in there. And so after I realized I couldn't do that, I'm sorry, world, but I was like, my strength is really bad puns.
Yeah, but I think that's great, dude. That's been great, actually. Getting to commentate with you so often and driving home and to events with you so often was like a huge formative part of commentary for, I think, for both of us. Just like game planning, how we were gonna approach, like, hey, what if like this happens in this game, or what if like this happens in the sort of tournament in general? Like, what are we supposed to do about that? And then coming back from, Wednesday night fights or whatever it was, driving back, and being like, how do you think it went? Oh, like I think this went well. I think we could have done this better. Like I think I did well here, but I think I did badly here. And then we'd like advice, right? Both sides. Like there's a lot of brainstorming that I thought was really helpful.
One of my favorite stories, I still remember after NorCal Regionals, John Choi took us all out to go eat and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were sitting across from each other, and we were like, so how do you think it went? And you're like, oh, well, I felt like this. And I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And another commentator that was over there was like, you guys talk about this?
Yeah.
We were like,
was that Z?
Yeah, it was Z. Because Z had the unfortunate position that he didn't have a consistent commentary partner, which back then was an important thing.
It was.
Not as important now because we get spread around
so much
all
more,
the time.
Yeah.
So it was just really funny because people were
surprised.
surprised.
It was really helpful. Yeah, it was formative for sure. And he said that, and maybe he's the one who made me realize that it was so formative. I mean, we had been doing it.
Right.
But I didn't really think about like how lucky we were to have had each other to spitball and brainstorm and like all that stuff.
I just like the pause you went, like we were so lucky to have each other.
Yeah, period. The end. No, but really, and he didn't. And obviously he was a great commentator in many ways. Like he's like really naturally gifted in a lot of ways. But not having had that person to brainstorm with, that's at the time, that was really helpful. Now I think there are so many more people commentating. so many more resources. It's like playing, right? Like there's like
Right.
so many more ways to get better. You can do your local. There's a lot of online stuff going on. There are discords about commentary that you can join.
Yes.
Like you can ask a lot of people, right? And there are so many different commentators out there now that you can look to for different thoughts on like how to do
Right.
something. Like when we were starting, not that we were the very first fighting game commentators, but like there were very few at the time. And so there was not a lot to go on really in terms of like what we should have been doing. I mean, we could look at like other games or sports and stuff, but like as far as like what it should look like in a fighting game context, we were kind of inventing it along with just a very small handful of other people.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, one of the main reasons I got into commentary very early on, it was at Shingle BMX's garage, AJ Papa decided to start streaming, and Vi was trying to like explain what he was doing while playing, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so he was like, James, come here, you're good at explaining stuff. And he got me to do that, and the reason why I was so eager to jump on and do that was because at the time I didn't like a lot of the commentary that was going on in fighting games because the match would be going and they weren't talking about the game, they were just joking, they were having a good time because that's just what it was, right? Like
it was a hangout.
I'm not blaming them, and I was saying like they're doing a bad job.
It was good in its own way. It's just it's not what we wanted it to be. Yeah.
And it was it's not what I wanted and what you wanted,
Yeah.
and so like I wanted something different. And I'm just the kind of person I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna like hate on anything here without trying it myself.
Okay, for sure.
And so once I started, like when I still remember jumping on the mic for that first time at Shingle BMX's garage, and like I was like, I didn't know what to say, and it was
You like pick up the mic and
Yeah.
you're like in your mind and you're like, all right, Valle, here's how it actually should be explained. And you just freeze.
yeah. I was just like, and then Vi was like, yeah, explain why I'm throwing different speed fireballs, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
stuff like
we
that.
had spent a lot of time explaining stuff not in that kind of context, but like we were on SRK and you were on GameFAQs and stuff, explaining stuff for so long.
Right.
I think we kind of like formulated a lot of views on stuff already. And Valle, like, and Justin, and like the really, really top level players at that time, they just didn't need to, right? Like I remember asking Justin how to beat this or that matchup, and he would just be like, "Don't get hit."
Yep.
You know, oh, thanks. No. Okay, genius.
I mean,
What a way.
One of the famous stories that like me and a group of friends always talk about was one of my friends, like in Alpha 2, like Ryu could use standing heavy punch or standing fierce as an anti-air, like a farther anti-air. But at one time, Vi was using standing strong instead.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, Vi, why are you using standing strong instead? And Vi was just like, hit steeper. And that was it. And like, what does that even mean? You know?
That's such a Maya thing to say.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, because like, and this is, I mean, I've been talking about this heart, mind, body game thing a lot recently. And it's funny too, because you can see it, like a lot of the old school players are heart players because they just do everything by the gut, by the feeling.
Yeah.
And that's why they can't explain what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean,
know?
but they can. Like Justin has become one of the best play-by-play
Now,
commentators.
yeah.
Like he could have thought about it,
Yeah,
but he didn't because I don't know. It was a different time. He didn't need to do commentary. He didn't
Right,
feel like he needed
exactly.
to. I mean, it's learnable, but yeah, that was. Yeah.
I mean, it's always that situation, right? Like the best players. I mean, look at the Magic Johnson coaching situation, the Wayne Gretzky coaching situation. Like Wayne Gretzky's
Classic.
like one of the greatest hockey players of all time, and like he wasn't a good coach, right? Because like the stuff that he would do as a player, he couldn't he expected that out of everybody else.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I feel like you have to have been like a good player to be a strong commentator.
Oh yeah, 100%,
right?
100%.
But yeah, you don't need to have been the best player.
Right. However,
And maybe it's even harmful to me. Maybe it's
Right.
harder.
But I mean, I'll be honest with you. There are some of our best commentators actually who don't have as much game, but don't have as much experience in the game. However, that is rare.
Yeah, it's rare.
And I don't recommend it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's an individual case in every case, but it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough to
I
do.
mean, again, you know, I've kind of been, you know, talking about this as well, like for fighting game commentary and stuff. Like, I think that I just feel like this is a trend with the world in general, especially with the internet is going, is that everybody feels like the worst thing in the world is to be wrong. Everyone just wants to be right. And so like every time you're proven wrong, they double down and they try to do all this stuff. And, you know, I feel like as a commentator, like being right isn't necessarily your goal, right? You know, however, knowing what you're talking about and having that knowledge is very much a part, like, is like 98% of the DNA of what you're talking about, right? But I mean, like, just, you know, for example, the whole is it gonna kill kind of thing, you know? I'll be honest with you, like 95%, 90% of the time, I know.
Yeah.
And I've been right. Like, I mean, when people were like, oh, you like commentators should know, like if you don't know, like you shouldn't be commentating. And so recently at a lot of tournaments, like I've been commentating with Jeremy, and you know, like something will happen, and he's like, you didn't ask the question. And I was like, because I knew it was gonna kill, you know, and like, or like I was like, oh yeah, he's dead, and blah blah blah, and then it'd just be dead, right? Like I know, but I don't want to rob that moment from the viewers again, right?
Yeah,
because like, what if you are rooting for Mena RD and he hits with this combo and looks like you don't know if it's gonna kill or not, right? Why is it my job to be like, well, he's dead, right? Like,
I agree with that.
It's like, oh my God, is this gonna kill? And that way, the person watching who's rooting for Mena has this tense, you know, thing. But if I'm just like, oh, it's definitely not gonna kill, he's gonna need one more mix-up. Like, I feel like you're kind of robbing something from the viewers in a lot of ways. I feel
like that like category of action is like the worst mistake to make on commentary, to say or do things that make it less engaging, right? As we were talking about before, like for me, that's the biggest sin. And I think there are a lot of really strong commentators out there, including some people who do that. And when I hear them do it, it takes me out of it, even though like they're really strong, like they're great otherwise.
Right,
and then they'll do the thing where it's like they're downplaying something cool that happened.
Dude, I've done that before, and like, I remember
why? Like I'm not in it anymore.
Right,
like,
yeah. And I remember
I thought it was cool. You don't think it's cool?
I hated myself for doing it. I remember afterwards, I was just like, that sounded so smarmy. It sounded like I was a know-it-all, because I was like, I've seen that combo before. That's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, why do I want to do that? And again, it's part of that whole thing where you want to seem smart, you want to be right, you want to be, you know, that kind of thing.
You don't want to underplay. You got to keep people engaged, and part of that is by you're like a source of authority, right? In a sense, and that doesn't mean that you always need to be like correct, as you've been saying, But you should not be saying stuff that's actively wrong. You should not be saying stuff that's like actively taking people out of the game.
Yeah, 100%.